Ultra Sim Racing. I am Miles Hasselwitz, and we have got another great week of sim racing. We're going to throw it down to Matt Holt and Jeremy Sodorff as they cover all the action.
Thanks, Miles, and welcome everyone to this would be the 7th round of the Ultra Sim Racing Series presented by RekLes Racing.
What's up, everybody? It's Matt Holt joining in with you. Appreciate everybody tuning in with us.
Just getting ready to kick off qualifying here. Looks like we're going to get some cars on course. Lauren Starr, he's one of our longtime members, is out to Lauren Starr's riding with Dustin Girding. Dustin Girdings are currently in second place in the points.
And where are we racing at tonight, Jeremy?
This is a track called Arizona. It was made by Rough Country Crawling, Caleb Good and Tom. It's known as one of the most difficult rock crawling maps there is around. It has some trails on it that were meant to be impossible, but people eventually figured out how to do them. And we kind of made a more streamlined version of it that works for Ultra 4 racing. It still has those gnarly trails out there. We don't use all of them, but even these mellowed out ones that we made are pretty tough.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a good time tonight. Again, good luck to all the competitors. It sounds like it's going to be a difficult night.
For sure, Arizona's hard on everybody, especially the IFS guys. Last time I raced this track, I ran a UFO just to see what it was like, and it works, but it's a handful. Oh, we got Slinky Sam on server 2, putting down his qualifying run in that BDR Bronco. Nice new paint job on there. So tonight we have 2 servers. Normally we just have one being broadcasted. We have server 1, which is your top 8 in the points, and then server 2 would be your 8 through 16 in the points.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Again, seeing 2 servers will be a good time. Again, appreciate everybody tuning in and watching this race. And obviously, I'm more of a straight axle guy coming from the bouncer community. You don't see a lot of independent front suspension. Brandon Davis runs that IFS buggy, the Menace buggy, built by Tim Cameron. He runs that. So we do have some out there running the independent front suspension, but most people are running straight axle just because of the strength and durability. You can bash on them pretty hard. They get kind of bouncer before. Plus cost. If you're looking at independent front suspension, the cost just with that bulkhead is astronomically higher than just a straight axle, especially if you're putting together a Dana 60 or a 14 bolt. Nowadays there's guys out making those 9-inch drop-ins really cheap. You can get a 9-inch sheet metal housing pretty cheap. So if you're running a lighter duty vehicle, you can actually build something pretty cheap, pretty light, and versus the independent front suspension you're going to spend a small fortune on. Now, again, during the desert, you're trying to hit some high-speed sections, you're going to notice that big time. But come to old-school rock crawling, you might be better with a straight axle.
Oh, for sure. I'm definitely a diehard straight axle guy. You're watching this bomber work. They can be fast. And if you ask some people, they say you'll never see another solid axle win King of the Hammers, but I believe that day will come again.
I agree. And I like the fact you said, but, because I think that, the minute that you say, we'll never see this, I think you will.
Oh, absolutely. Just because of, there's a lot of skill and prep involved in that race, but there's still luck. And as long as some of the top teams are still campaigning those cars, you'll see them up there. And then who says someone doesn't just come out of nowhere and win them?
Yeah. Again, like I said, there's a lot of competitors out there that can really, just get out there. Again, the straight axle cars, Miller, we see those guys just absolutely dominate in the woods. So, again, straight axle cars do have a spot, rock crawling. But
no, I've had it for a year.
But it's definitely something you can see get out there and just absolutely thrash on those cars.
For sure. We're watching Waffles here. He's one of our fast guys. He's a young kid, just first year of college. But his family's an Ultra 4. They run 4800 class. They do King of the Hammers, and they have a Jimmy's Podium chassis with a Bronco body on it. And he's definitely one of the front runners in here. The only person that chose to run this particular chassis. It's a desert-inspired solid axle car.
That's pretty awesome. Again, like I said, it looks like a super gnarly course. Just those big rocks, just thrashing through. Yesterday, I was at Badlands Off-Road Park. Went with my dad, my brother, and a bunch of nieces and nephews. We all loaded up some side-by-sides and my bouncer, and my brother took his Toyota, and we went over there and just had an absolute blast. And there's a truck park that's just for trucks or larger side-by-sides trucks. They get over there and they have a really awesome rock section. You can get in there and just absolutely thrash around on it. We had a blast, had a good time. I did break a ring opinion, but that's it. But again, watching those straight axle cars on the big rock ledges, like those 3 foot by 3 foot ledges, you just have to have something that's durable,
Yeah, and I like that unsprung weight of the solid axle car too, that kind of once you get it over the ledge helps pull you. You don't need as much momentum. Therefore, if you're running a more limited car, like myself with the Toyota axles, I don't have the full send option all the time. So being able to get my front end up over something and crawl it, I like, versus I've never crawled an IFS car, but I have a feeling you got to carry a little more momentum over those square edges to get that belly pan to clear until your back tires catch.
Yeah, again, Brandon, that's something Brandon Davis runs into a lot. He has Menace, which is an independent front suspension, and it has like a 9-inch or 12-inch belly. It's super, super low to the ground, where the rest of us are like 16, 18. I'm like 22. So, he has to really skim that stuff to get it to kind of shoot up and land. If that's the way to look at it, you almost have to back up and you have to like almost launch into the air and then hit the brakes and let it land.
Right. Which takes a lot more vehicle. We just saw Waffles hook one of our infamous juniper trees here. So there's larger bushes are called junipers, and they're very sticky. So if you hit one, they just grab your car instantly. And he sustained quite a bit of damage there. We're not going to be able to see that because of something called Desync. But Waffles he hit a no-no tree. All of those larger trees are just, everyone avoids them like the plague, and he just hooked one and has taken some serious damage to his car, which being he's a front runner in the points, either third or fourth right now, so that's going to hurt if he gets back in qualifying and gets stuck in traffic.
Yeah, anyone who's ever hit an actual tree knows that they are they tend not to go so well in your car.
Oh, for sure. Up here in the Northwest, we use them as curbs kind of sometimes, but you can get away from them is the thing. Once you get into them, these junipers, once you touch it, it actually grabs your car and holds you there, and you can't get away from it without ripping your car apart. So they are extra brutal, and it's something that we've looked into, but it's just kind of baked into the game. And you can see how Waffles is struggling to get the car to rotate there because he's probably missing a wheel on his screen, which we do have his live feed, so we could check that out and see how much damage his car actually has right now.
So it looks like he's doing everything he can just to steer that car.
Yeah, that thing is it's broken for sure. His qualifying run is he might not be in last, but he's not going to be first. Yeah, here we have Cad in this UFO buggy. He's one of the veterans, winner of the first point series we had, and he races in the first person view. So he's one of those guys that really has to memorize the track before he sends it over a blind crest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome to watch guys race in that first person view, just because they see it's a lot more realistic view, than probably what you're used to seeing.
Yeah, that third person view, I always compare that to RC racing with a constant good view. It's it's fun, but to me, it's not a simulator at that point. Not to fire shots at those guys, but it's just my opinion. They all know it.
Yeah, no, it's like racing from a helicopter at Hammers. It's not a
you can see over the crest. You can see all 4 tires.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. If you're in person and a true person, you're watching the cab. I saw a guy the other day that was in a wheelchair, and I was on TikTok, and he had a GoPro camera mounted inside of his RC car, and he had the arms to the driver hooked to the steering wheel, and there must have been a servo because it was turning his steering wheel back and forth with his arms. And he had he had his wheelchair outside with like double curved monitors on the edge of his wheelchair. And he had like a steering wheel and pedal set up, and he was racing the RC car outside as he was steering the steering wheel and watching his double monitors. It was really, really cool.
Yeah, that was quite the setup he had going with that.
It was pretty neat to see. Again, that's for a guy sitting in a wheelchair outside is probably one of the neatest setups I had seen. And again, trying to be as realistic as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that's something I've seen a lot of people doing because I think they take the technology that was developed for FPV drones and then just plop it into an RC car and then link in a simulator as the interface.
Which is so cool to watch. Again, just very neat to see,
A long time ago, before I knew that this was possible to have off-road sim racing like this, I thought about trying to get something together along those lines of RC racing, just to have fun with it, where you're actually sitting in a seat and then looking out the windshield of an RC car. People would be going exponentially slower than they do, regularly.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It would still be fun.
Oh yeah. But it's very cool just to see the different ways of looking at it,
For sure. And here we have this is Dylan Moto X. He's a East Coast guy, races Ultra 4 in the 4900 class. Looks like he might be running first-person view too, because he wasn't quite sure where to go over that crest, which I can relate. It's always hard to tell at Arizona, blind crest, and then the road always turns right after the crest. And judging by the way he's countersteering, he has suffered some severe damage to the left front.
Yeah, it's definitely, again, when you hit some of those rocks or trees, either one, in real life, it's just so brutal. You're not gonna. It's easy to rip a knuckle off a car or something. So it's something you're definitely gonna see.
Yeah, when you hit that heavy stuff, if it's heavier than your car, it doesn't move. You do, or your car gives. It's
Yeah, it's pretty brutal, in reality. What is their length of their qualifying time right now? I mean, the course, the distance of the qualifying course.
So I do have for us on. I'm gonna get our server 2 feedback up. My I'm running server 2 off of my old computer, and it didn't really appreciate what I was doing to it, so it crashed out for a minute. So I'm going to see if I can reconnect that feed, and it will have our live results on there. Looks like Waffles had a 445 with the damage that he took. Dustin Girding 411. Young Cad had a 405. 412 by SVT Texan. So it's looking like low to mid 4s is a decent time.
Okay. And then what's the race tonight? What's the distance for the race tonight?
So this is a single lap race, unlike the other ones where they're usually multiple laps or configurations. Yeah. And I want to say we could see some people getting this done in as little as 45 minutes. Myself personally, probably about an hour and 15 minutes would be a good run for me. But these guys are the fastest in the world. They're crazy good at it.
That's insane. 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, they somehow find a half hour that I couldn't find out there.
Yes.
I spend a lot of time upside down.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
That's never good when your car is on fire in the desert.
Negative. Hopefully that's some fire extinguishers handy. Looks like server 2 is getting staged for a race right now.
I've seen cars on fire in the desert, and it usually doesn't end well.
No, definitely not. That's honestly how a lot of our wildfires around here get started, is a car on the highway burns up and
really
takes the hillside with it. Yeah. Man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so as far as server, I believe server 2 is in. They have their qualifying. They're getting staged, ready to race. And server 1, I think we might have one more guy on course here. Yeah, driver tech running that truggy. That's one of them juniper trees we talked about.
Yeah.
He's running that truggy that is the desert-inspired IFS Ultra 4 car, one of Tom's early mods. In the last series we did, it was hands down the fastest car, and so pretty much everyone was going to run it in this next one, but we felt it was unrealistically fast for the chassis and things like that. So we did what's called nerfing it, and we can go into the code of the vehicle to adjust its parameters as far as horsepower, durability, and things like that to try to make them more realistic. And that's our goal, is to balance them out as much as possible for a realistic experience, not just what's easy to drive.
Yeah. And again, that's kind of reality too. Like, you might have a car that's lighter, but if you have a lot more aluminum and a lot thinner parts, like thinner A-arms, thinner tabs, thinner, smaller diameter bolts, that's great. It makes your car go much faster in the desert. Unfortunately, when you hit the rocks, it also might crumple it up too. So
looks like Driver Tech was having a really good run, but it looks to me like his car's down on power at the moment, so he might be losing an engine. And I think it just went. Oh, man. Tough break for Driver Tech. He was on a tear of a run there, and he is beat from the finish line. Oh, my gosh. This is horrible. Just roll. He just needs a gust of wind.
yeah.
Someone come push him. Oh, he's going to make it. Oh. Oh, no. No way. No way. Here comes Dylan. Dylan's going to push him across, I bet.
That stinks.
Oh, no. So he's getting out in a snowman. So each person has a driver figure. So he's actually pushing his car across the line. All right. There we go. Nice job. Dylan was coming to help him out. He's a good dude. He actually it was either Dylan or someone towed Dylan across the line in the last race. I don't know if Dylan went and recovered them and towed them in, or if he was one that got towed in. But that's pretty cool. That is something we've been letting people do. Going with the spirit of Ultra 4, and you can receive help from other drivers. So if someone wants to come help you, they can do that.
Yeah, and we saw that last week. I believe somebody was towing somebody through the rock section, which was just absolutely incredible. Yeah,
and that didn't turn out well. As I remember, that was that was a bad deal, but they were trying it. And it looks like we have. I thought Lordy ran his run, but apparently not. We'll pop over here and check out the final results, and we'll take a slight intermission before the race kicks off.
All right.
So you can see some people already have their race results in. Those guys are from Portugal. And as you might be familiar with, there's a King of Portugal race. And so they're on a very different time zone, so we allow those guys to race beforehand.
Yeah, that's very thoughtful. If you're racing on a different continent, I feel like you should get a little slack cut to you.
Yeah, and Caleb, I don't know if you can double check, but people are commenting in on that they cannot find the live feed, and I do not see it either on Ultra 4 USA.
On YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube Ultra 4 USA. I don't see it, and it seems like other people are having trouble finding it as well.
Yep. Hey, Jeremy, can you check? I lost your feed to server 1 as well.
Okay.
Got it back. You should be able to find that video. No, I just verified the link.
Looks like we might be waiting on one more time to come in. Talon, he's a young man, been racing with us for a while, really favors the UTVs, but we don't have a UTV class yet, so he's been running an Ultra 4 with us, and sometimes has internet problems, but that could be a wrap. Looks like Lorne Star smashed everybody with a 350 and that big Ultra bump with those giant TSLs on it.
That's awesome. He got out there and just smoked the course. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, Lauren, he's one of those first-person drivers. He's definitely going for the most realistic experience he can get. He's not here to play video games. He's here to get better driving, and that's cool to see him on the front row there with lane choice.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's incredible.
And then, sorry if I'm wrong, Caleb, but I don't think we have a feed on Ultra 4 right now, unless there's a.
I'm watching it.
Oh, okay, so
It's
we are streaming. Okay,
Yeah.
is it on Ultra 4 USA? Is
Yes.
that the one?
Yeah.
Okay, copy. Let's see.
Looks like we have 2 watchers right now. I just logged on.
Okay, yeah. People are having trouble finding it, and I've been getting messages. I think they're clicking on live and they're not seeing it. So and then we have Young Cad on the front row in the number 2 qualifying spot here in server 1. He's up there pretty well in the points. He's a veteran of the sport. He actually has driven a UFO the hammers before, because he is one of the guys that helps build them.
Yeah. I love to have driven a UFO car at Hammers. Like that, get out there and have some fun tearing it up. That'd be a good time.
Oh yeah, it's got to be the best seat in the house with the visibility out of these things. You know, the cockpit is just designed for being able to see, and then when the suspension travels, you can see both those front tires come up, and if you have VR on or a head tracker, you could lean from side to side and actually see both front tires.
Yeah. Again, the visibility is incredible in those cars. I think that's kind of the biggest factor.
Yeah, compared to as this one, Stacy's mom has. Stacy's mom was designed to have good visibility. They put Lexan panels in the floor and on the sides.
Yeah,
so looks like Waffles took them off, but usually there's a Lexan panel right there. One of the nice things about sim racing is you don't have to eat any gravel, so you can take a few body parts off here and
there. We have a guy named John Campbell who has the Taz rock bouncer, and he put panels on that were plexiglass and then wrapped it with like a perforated hole, kind of like a lot of guys have that back window they can look out of, but yet it still has a wrap on there. He did that on all his panels, so he can see out of it, but it can't be seen in, and it still gives you graphics and stuff, which is really cool. So,
yeah,
very, very cool.
Sounds like they are getting revved up, ready. We got 2 minutes till green. And you take a look at Lauren here. He is choosing to run his window nets, with a lot of guys take those off when you're running first-person view. And this car has pretty limited visibility, but he has a head tracker, and I don't think he's racing with VR yet. He has it, but it doesn't work well in the racing server environment. But the head tracking is something that clips onto your head. And so he can actually lean side to side and move his head around to get better visibility if he needs to see a little bit.
Which is awesome. That is so, so cool.
Yeah, it's a game changer for sure. I can't race Ultra 4 without it. You know, road racing and short course racing, you can have your look left, look right buttons, but Ultra 4 and rock crawling, you really need to be able to spot your tires and all that. Okay, I'm going to say Talon's not going to make it tonight. We're just waiting until 6 o'clock to drop the flag on these guys.
Got about 1 minute, roughly, a couple minutes.
A minute and a couple seconds probably. And we have Slinky Sam there in that blue RekLes Racing Bronco. It's a good-looking car made by Isaac at BDR. And server 1 is away.
And these guys are even at 30-second intervals?
Yes, 2 up, 30 seconds apart.
Okay.
Lauren gets the whole shot with that 1,200 horsepower he's running. And Cad's just going to let him go. He's like, I don't want anything to do with your dust. So He's good. Lauren's off to a strong lead. And Arizona is not a place you want to give Lauren or that car any breathing room. And on the second row, we have second in the points, Dustin Girding and SVT Texan, both in bombers. They're away. Looks like Dustin has the little more speed around the outside. Hopefully they keep it clean, rolling 3 wheels through that corner. Nice job on that start, guys, not taking each other out. It's close racing here. And then we have Kyle and Waffles. Waffles, we saw him hit that juniper tree and take out a left front and put him a little back in the qualifying. His car might not have as much power as that bomber, though, so we will see. Oh, looks like he got a good start, though.
Yeah, I was watching that.
Again,
being able to get out in front of those guys, getting out there and getting that fresh, clean air is such a huge thing in the desert. Being able out there. I know there's a ton of rocks we're going to see the guys who place through today, but being able to get out there and push ahead makes a big, big difference. In there.
Absolutely, and we have Driver Tech and Dylan. We saw Driver on a tear of a qualifying run, but then lost a motor feet from the finish line and had to actually get out and push himself across. But then Dylan was coming there to help him, so good camaraderie between these two. I bet we're going to see some clean racing off the line here. We'll see if Driver lets him go. Seems how he was coming to get him, but Driver's extremely competitive. He's like, no, dude, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
that truck is so fast.
Yeah.
All right, let's go check on our leaders up here. We got Cad and that UFO making up that little waterfall. Let's see if we can find Lauren here. Oh, that looks like a rollover. There's our race leader, top qualifier, Lauren Starr. L3M's his business. He's self-sponsored. It's one of the cool things about sim racing is you can self-sponsor without breaking the bank.
Yeah, that's kind of a neat feature.
Yeah, he has a really cool company out in the Midwest where they sell remodels. So if you need an exterior remodel of your house, siding, doors, windows, roofing, stuff like that, they'll get you all fixed up. And he's the only one that chose to use this Ultra Bump car. It's a really nice mod made by a guy named DW. It's a free one in the repo that anyone can go get. And really high quality for a free mod. But it has its downfalls, but it also has about 1,500 horse if you want to crank it up.
Wow, 1,500 horse. Yeah,
it's enough to self-destruct. you can self-destruct this car. It has a self-destruct button. It's called the right foot.
I love that spare tire mount on the back there. That's pretty awesome looking. Very, very cool. Very, very kind of rock bouncer-ish looking with those big tires on there. Just kind of meaty.
Yeah, that's I think kind of what this car is inspired is a Ultra 4 rock bouncer mix. I think it's what they were trying to go for.
Yeah, pretty cool looking.
Yeah, and we'll fix that real quick. So CAD does not actually have a flat tire. It's just something called Desync, which we've explained it before. We'll explain it again. This particular simulator does not have a multiplayer platform built into it. So we are using 3 different applications to bring this to you, and we don't actually get to see a one-to-one physics and damage of what these cars are sustaining. So if you were to download this and play it on your own computer at home, these cars would drive with very precise physics, and they would follow the ground just like a real car would, bounce just like a real car would. But what we're going to see on this live feed is a slightly distorted view of that. But we get to watch it, so that's cool.
Which is kind of fun. you kind of see some of those rock ledges that are just abusive on cars, and how much absolutely just thrashing you have to go to get to them. Again, how much damage you're willing to put on the car as well.
Yeah, and we have penalties for resetting. One of the cool things about sim racing is there's a new car button. You can press insert on your keyboard and get a brand new car, but it's going to cost you 8 minutes of corrected time.
And that's if you're on course, and if you're in the pits, it's a little less than that?
Correct. So we have designated pit areas around the track, and if you make it to one of those pit areas, you'll only be receiving a 2-minute penalty. So pretty substantial.
And how many pit areas do they have in the game this time?
So this particular map, seems how it doesn't... This is a point-to-point race. They will not be reusing any parts of the race course. This one has 4 or 5 pit areas on it, but our normal tracks have 2 to 3.
Okay. Yeah, being able to pull in the pits and change the tire is definitely a way to go.
Absolutely, and you'll see these guys really limping damaged cars to get them to the pits, which causes a bunch of weird feedback on the video feed that we're seeing. So when we see a car just jiggling all over the place, that's because on our screen their car is okay, but on their screen they've sustained some damage.
Okay.
We have SVT Texan and that good-looking Spider Tracks bomber working his way nice and smooth through the rocks. This bomber car is truly a work of art by Tom at RCC. He actually got in contact with Randy Slauson, and they made the best car possible.
That's crazy.
And we're hoping to get more on board too. We've reached out to like Jason Shear and Eric Miller. Haven't heard anything back yet. Well, we have heard back from Jason Shear. He might have something else, another commitment to where he's not able to allow us to use his car. But we're hoping to get a few more in here too.
Yeah.
Get the builders, because. Yeah, go ahead.
I was talking to Josh England this weekend about the video game, and he said, "Yeah," but he said, "Yeah, I'm on Discord," and he started listing like tons of people on Discord that they do off-road stuff with on sim racing, and so he was definitely a fan. We started chatting and started talking about all the good stuff, and started talking about Bailey Cole and all his hardcoreness and what he's doing, and so it was really, really cool to get to swap stories and start chatting, and definitely cool to see that.
So I know Josh. He's we know each other from back in the old days, like 2008, We Rock series.
Yeah.
He was working with Big Ridge,
Yeah.
doing all that stuff. And then he kind of branched out. He got into desert racing and stuff like that. And Josh is a good dude. I haven't seen him forever though.
Yeah, we were just chopping it up for quite a while, and he had a bunch of his buddies there with him. They were all goofing around, having a good time, and having some guide time, so it was a lot of fun, and they were enjoying the racing, and he was said he's kind of into it now, and he had a bunch of buddies. They were talking about the rough country crawlers and stuff, so he knows a bunch of those guys.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he gets on the bandwagon. We'll get him in here and get him racing.
Yeah, he seemed like he definitely enjoyed it. Like I said, he knew a bunch of the guys, so that's kind of cool.
And then hopefully we'll see him down at Hammers. That's last year at Hammers. Nobody really knew about us. It was kind of our first time doing all this. We've only been doing this for just over a year, and so we're really hoping this year we'll get a lot more people in the general store trying the simulator out, and then this year we're going to have a little more leeway on the equipment, so we can get some after hours racing going, where we can maybe get some pro drivers in there side by side and see if see how they stack up on a digital car versus their real ones. And it'd be cool. If it was if we could get like a Gomez in a UFO and Randy in one of these bombers or something in there and get them duking it out.
Yes, that would be awesome.
So
Watching those guys battle out.
So we just saw Dylan pull into one of the designated pit areas. That was the white tents, and your feed might be just slightly behind mine. So forgive me if I'm calling the wrong race that you're seeing. But Dylan just pulled into a pit, and then so he took a repair and has a fresh car now, but it was at a significantly less time penalty.
Yeah. And that can play huge. Again, we've seen that, several weeks in a row where, guys chop it up after they're done and look at those final times, and then you look at corrected time, and who finished the race in the running order they finished in was not necessarily the final running order. So very interested to see how that plays out.
Whoa, Driver Tech is sending it. He knows this track very well. So you'll usually see the top 2, top 3 with 0 repairs. So those guys run this whole race without breaking their car, which is extremely difficult because it's not like real life where, you feel a hit and you're like, oh yeah, we did something there. In the sim racing, sometimes they touch the wrong object they don't like and you get damage. And we chalk that up to how in real life you get unexpected, unwarranted breakages sometimes. So there is
definitely
some luck
unwarranted.
involved. There is some luck involved, but it seems like the same guys over and over and over are getting the 0 repairs. And Driver just sent that drop massive, so he has this whole course memorized, I guarantee you, and he is on a tear. So if he can keep this truggy together, I bet you he'll put down a pretty impressive time.
Yeah, and again, the reality is kind of the same thing. There's times where you're out in the desert having fun with your friends, playing around, or in the rocks or whatever, pushing hard, having fun, and then all of a sudden, boom, something snaps, and you're like, wait, what a minute? Yeah, that stinks. Like I said, I was over playing at Badlands yesterday, and we were kind of banging on some rocks, and I snapped a ring and pinion. So I got to pick up parts tomorrow and head to LS Fest this weekend. But there's times you don't think what's going to happen. Like that, we were just playing around, having a good time, and definitely tore quite a bit of stuff up. So, and there's other times where you'll go in and just absolutely full throttle assault on something. The rig will hold together just fine. So, again, I'm sure with sim racing, it's the same way. There's times you pull up something and think, oh, no big deal. Well, if it's the 100th that you hit a rock, that knuckle may break clean off. So,
yeah. Yeah, and Matt, it might just be me, but I'm getting pretty some crackly static on your mic. You might check your connection real quick on your.
Check it.
It's been a real big learning experience for us to bring this racing to you live, and we watched Dustin Girding go into the rough country canyon right here. This thing is brutal. This section, which he's going to walk right up, can contain people for 10 minutes at a time. So that's your second place in points right there in that bomber chassis, making short work of it. And this, as far as I know, Lauren is still the current leader in that big ultra bump with those giant tires. And if I know Lauren, he's fast, but he's methodical and smooth. So he's going to try not to tear that car up. Which this is what we call a repo mod, which means it's a free mod that's available to everyone. And usually they're a little less durable than some of the custom mods that are paid mods that were designed for Ultra 4, because BeamNG is all about the damage model. And that's what makes it such a good off-road simulator, is that it has so much data running through the car for every moving part on it that it actually has good physics. But in hindsight, it makes it extremely taxing on people's computers to where you have to have a pretty significant machine to run this. And when you get in a server with multiple vehicles, it multiplies that effect. So, which, it's kind of cool to where this is a legitimate form of racing, to where if you want to race, you have to buy a race car, and just your average yard sale PC is not going to do it. You need to get a decent machine, something 32 gigs of RAM, 3060 graphics card minimum. I'd recommend the newer generation processors. And we're gonna watch Lauren go up this driver tech section here. This is just a really cool rock formation. This was something that we modified for the Ultra 4 Racing, to where before only a rear steer like Jesse Haynes chassis car, which is, if you've ever heard of, are extremely nimble, could make it up that line. And now we were able to get Ultra 4 cars up it. And Lauren made short work of it, so maybe we need to go back in there and make that a little harder. And once again, he is going to bypass that pit area, meaning that he does not need a pit repair. And it looks like his car is driving pretty straight. So I think Lauren is more than likely out front, 0 repairs, and has a healthy car. Don't want to jinx him. Hope he's not listening. So. And here we have CAD coming up through that same section we just talked about. You can ruin your day right here. If you flip backwards, you fall down into that canyon. It's you got a long ways out. And Dustin Girding right behind CAD. His car has a floppy wheel on it. That's only on our screen, not on his.
You talked a little bit about the price of the computer. What's an overall system cost?
So I would recommend spending around $2,000 on a computer. If you're going to build it yourself, you can get away with probably around $1,500. And then you want to get a good steering wheel. I'm not going to bash any brands right now, but you want to get one that's at least like a belt drive or a direct drive. The gear drive ones aren't going to have detailed enough feel, and they're going to have a lot of slop in them. They're going to be really loud. So if you're in Discord, people are going to be hearing your steering wheel through your mic,
Yeah.
So I'm going to say if you wanted to get into this and do it DIY style, you could get into it for around $2,000. If you want to just go and buy a turnkey setup, I would set aside $4,500, $5,000 minimum to have somebody else build it for you.
Wow, for $2,000, $2,500, and then kind of bottom end, and $5,000 to get you a pretty slick setup.
Well, so it'd be the same setups. It just depends on how much you do yourself.
Okay. So building one versus buying one done.
Correct. It's about half the price to build one, but you are taking on all the responsibility of making it good and making it work. And this sim racing is actually like real racing in a lot of ways, where guys, you could go buy a top of the line PC and the next day have problems with it. And luckily we have a pretty good team of guys here that are tech savvy, and a section in our Discord dedicated to technical issues and things like that to help people through those so they can get racing again.
What does the in-game purchases cost? Like you talked about buying different cars. What do those kind of purchases look like?
So as far as the vehicle purchases, these are RCC and BDR cars, mostly RCC, which you can subscribe to their Patreon for $5 a month and get access to all these vehicles that you can use in single player, and I believe on the RCC servers. And then there's also the option of joining RekLes Racing, where for $5 a month you can get access to our racing servers that have these cars loaded into them to use in multiplayer on our servers. So I recommend it if you just want to do single player, go to RCC. Oh, it looks like we got young CAD just caught up to our race leader Lauren, your top qualifier. He's giving him the gentleman's respect and not trying to pass him instantly. And as Lauren's trying to work through this little spot, I'm wondering if he has sustained some damage, because you'd think he'd make short work of that little notch. We'll see if it gives CAD as much trouble in this UFO. And Dustin Girding right behind him. That's 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
Right there. And Dustin Girding is second place in points, and Waffles is right there too. And he is, I believe, third or fourth place in the point standings.
Again, you can see all the names.
So,
There's a big group of them.
And we're coming into this is a really big bottleneck spot. So if Lauren can clear this top section before these guys catch up to him, he'll be back onto his way. This spot, you can see we put the flags up. There's Ultra 4, USR, and RekLes. These are the guys that make it all happen because we figured we're going to spend some right here. This climb is something else, and Lauren is going to clear it first shot. That is an accomplishment. This climb I've spent over 10 minutes in this spot for sure. It's there's a left line option, but it is not any easier.
Oh!
And looks like Cad's gonna get denied on his first try and roll onto Dustin with that flat tire. Hopefully they don't get caught up. Dustin's getting out of the way because he knows you do not want to make contact in this sport.
Great little aerial view there, all the cars lined up. And it's funny, people think, well, you wouldn't really have that in real life. I have been in obstacles where I've watched Shannon Campbell climb out of his car and just hang out with the crowd because he's like, I'm not going to run over 12 cars in front of me. I can't, you know. So it's insane just to see that happen in real life.
Yeah, we'll get back over there. I had to tab through and fix the vehicles because sometimes they get too tore up. Looks like Cad made it out the top in the UFO. Now it's Dustin's turn. We're going to see if Waffles will hang back. He's probably trusting that Dustin's going to shoot it first try. Which, Dustin's a seasoned pro out here, and so is Waffles. We'll see how he does. Stacy's mom is a notoriously rear weight bias car. We say, she's got a big old booty. And as you can see, even Waffles in all glory wasn't able to shoot it first try. And then once you mess up, it stuffs your back bumper into this rock down here.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to get lined back up again.
Again, I'm sure it looks like you're making multiple attempts there, really getting in there, really trying to get with it. And,
Yeah, and so we'll see if how much Lauren gapped out. So, see, Waffles got tied up there for just a moment, and then that's how far away those guys were able to get from him. So, but one thing about that car Waffles is driving, it does really well on these windy roads. So I bet he's going to reel that gap in pretty quick. And then SVT Texan not too far behind. Kyle's right in there too, already getting into that gnarly BDR boulder section. And then Driver Tech and Dylan back there still pretty close to each other.
Yeah, it's incredible to watch these guys just, full send it, And again, I could only imagine what this looks like in just a first-person view, just watching these guys just back up and hit these courses as hard as they can, kind of giving it everything, they got,
Yeah, and it's not easy, especially when dust gets involved. And dust is real in this simulator.
Yeah.
The dust we're seeing is the dust they're seeing. Let's go on board with Lauren here, see what he's looking at.
Yeah, you can just
and
just as the great
feedback
equalizer.
Is a little rough. Yeah, and so Lauren, he took the liberty of building a pretty good PC, where I think he spent around $2,900 just in parts, and then built it himself, which is really multiplying your dollars per performance, to where you could spend $2,900 for a computer someone else built and have it be worth about the amount of a $2,000 computer. And so he went ahead and just bought all the top parts, and and then built it himself. Or actually, he has a good buddy who's pretty tech savvy, I think, that helped him build it. And so Lauren's seeing stuff in pretty real time, which is necessary when you're in the first person view. And look
again,
at that, the whole gang's back together. I had around 2,900 on just parts.
Okay.
And that doesn't include monitor.
Okay.
That doesn't include monitor or probably a lot of parts as far as your simulator goes. But still, you know, like there's guys like Waffles over there who he's extremely fast. He's racing on a laptop. So, I mean, it's
really
all walks of life can do this.
Is there an iMac
He's also
or PC
like
bias one way or the other?
Well, so I know that Mac has some pretty special features that are to PC, but in this type of sim racing, I believe everybody is running a PC-based laptop.
Okay.
Like the one that I'm using to broadcast this right now in real time is a pretty built machine where, you know, it has oh, Lauren's going to go for a pass in the desert with that 1,500 horsepower.
Wow.
I don't know what he has it turned up to. Let's see how much horsepower Lauren is actually pushing right now. He's running 1127 horsepower and a 5,051 pound car.
Wow.
Pushing it's forced induction. Looks like he's pushing up to around 9 pounds of boost, but he was able to just scoot around that bomber. And he's already reeling in CAD in that UFO to get that spot back that he lost. Because him and CAD are head-to-head right now because they start at the same time. So if neither one of them have a repair, Lauren's going to have to pass him if he wants to win this. But he's also going to keep it on the track because those juniper trees, man, they will eat you.
And again, like you talked about earlier, you know, a lot of guys that are the pro level of this do not have, you know, in repairs throughout the course. You know, they're able to send it, but yeah, keep it safe, you know. So it's interesting just to see that, you know, how guys can go this hard, this fast for 45 minutes and not have any, you know, 2-minute or 8-minute repairs.
Which I do not understand at all because, so let's say after this race, you and I wanted to go out and wheel this. If we just wanted to wreck wheel this course, I would probably get like 2 or 3 repairs. You know,
yeah. Again, right here, just seeing how incredibly rough these rocks are. You know, I mean, just absolutely thrashing through them. Granted, he's in a UFO car, but still, I mean, that's just, you know, monster truck stuff. I mean, this is super gnarly. Either, you know, that Jesse Haynes, you know, fabrication, you know, crawler, or that's the rock bouncer that's super built and you're going full tilt, you know. I mean, and still you're taking damage. I mean, your chassis at the end is going to need some repairs, you know, or you're going to need to, you know, go through everything, get new bearings, new seals, new gaskets, new bushings, you know, maybe some new bolts, you know. I mean, that's a lot of abuse. Yeah, we can hear you. We hear you clear as well. Again, just, you know, monster trucking through there, you know. These guys are full tilt, just straight vehicle assault, you know. Oh. Yeah. Oh boy, those guys are definitely full send guys. Yeah. I could only imagine. He is probably still trying to get home from Crandon. I know that shout out to Bailey Cole. He was, he won his class, so he was lightning fast and was, behind Ryan Webb on the first lap. Was able to get him around. Ryan was flying around the corner and bicycling it and caught a rough, braking rut and was, almost rolled it. Said he could reach out and touch the dirt, and able to get it back on its wheels. Unfortunately, Bailey passed him, or fortunately for Bailey, he passed him, got around him. And then, those guys, I would say they battled out, but Bailey had a pretty decent lead in front of him. But I think Ryan was also like, hey, I'm not going to go up there and push too hard and roll over. So, again, coming out, had a great finish for those guys and had a great time. They were definitely flying them through there and sending it each lap. So, huge shout out to all the Ultra 4 guys that raced this weekend at Crandon. Definitely, it's always a great time. The parade is always one of my favorite parts. Watching all those guys come down and hang out in the parade and laughing and talking and, watch them hand out their merch is always super cool. So definitely a very awesome opportunity. But, yeah, I was actually going to give a shout-out to him tonight, but I didn't see him when he running off the driver's meeting there. Yeah, it was incredible. Which is not good. Ooh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. He's trying for all he has. Yeah. Okay, okay. Which is, again, similar to Ultra 4 rules as well. Yeah. 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 It just keeps, yeah. I mean, a 6-minute difference is huge. You could literally have 4 pit repairs for what 1 trail repair would cost you. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true. I could absolutely see someone like myself doing that. It's going, hey, listen, I got this new fancy car. Let's send it. Wow. Yeah. What's up, Colt Dog? What's up, Maddie the Batty? Appreciate everybody tuning in on the live feed. All our viewers tuning in on the Ultra 4 Racing page. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited as well. Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was pretty insane racing last year. Yeah. Yeah, the class 11 was just insane. They also raced those this weekend, so it was pretty cool to watch. Yeah. Yeah. They are getting it. Yeah, just pushing through some of this desert section here. I mean, we talk about the rocks a lot and how difficult they are, but I mean, just pushing through some of this desert section is just so brutal on the cars. Bouncing constantly, working that suspension, scaling it up and down, pushing it up and down. Going through is just so brutal. These guys are absolutely just flying. Do we have some in the pits already, or? We might have our finisher. We can hear you. Our UFO car, is our UFO car finished? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's. I was talking a little bit about. I was just saying how we have focused on rocks a lot, but even the desert section, just hitting those whoops over and over and over, and cycling that suspension over and over, can really wreak havoc on something that's not completely dialed in, or if you're again looking at big cars, the bolt check stuff, going through, making sure all your tabs look good, there's no cracks in welds, so a lot of that's really really crucial. Yes. Yep. Again, I have we went to Badlands, and I was telling how I broke a ring and pinion yesterday. So I don't know. It still is hold together. It shipped about 5/16 in a row. I heard something making some noise that wasn't supposed to be right. I couldn't tell exactly what it was. I thought it was an axle shaft at first because I heard it snap, but I wasn't 100% what it was. So we went ahead and tore it all apart. And yeah, sure enough, I have about 16th in a row missing on my front ring and pinion. So I got to get it all torn apart today. And I posted a picture on my Snapchat, my story. So it did not necessarily. It could have been cracked for quite a while. And the really good bouncer guys, such as Tim Cameron, will tear those rigs apart. We do a 10 race cup series. Ultra 4 is 6, 8, 10, depending on if you're doing the East Coast, if you're doing West Coast, are you doing finals, are you doing just hammers? There's a lot of varieties guys choose to do. And, tearing those rigs down and looking at that stuff, looking at those welds, inspecting some of your Heim joints, making sure they're working well. That plays a big role in keeping the car together and being able to finish. I also love the horn honking sound effects. That's great. Yeah, just absolutely thrashed them through the rocks there. That desert section, that last little bit of desert section, looks like I have quite a few finishers. Get their times loaded up here in a second once we get done. Smoking into that finish line. I don't know if we might have one more. I don't know, on this server, I think we have one more. those rocks are just playing havoc. Again, being able to keep it upright. You want to go hard, get in there, and be able to thrash around, but at the same time not roll over. And definitely don't end up with a trail repair. That 8-minute time category can definitely change things pretty quickly. Again, with a 30-second head start, 30-second intervals of taking off, it's a big difference. Everybody on YouTube for following us. We appreciate everybody checking in for us. And again, limping it on into that last rock, that last desert section after that extremely rough section tonight, taking just such a beating from all the competitors. Appreciate everybody tuning in with us on our sim racing. I'm sure Jeremy's checking all our results, getting everybody locked in. I really want to know another place. Again, we had 2 servers in here tonight, I believe, but I think they normally are running 3. Looks like we have a few more finishers, 2 more, I think. 2 more, 3 more, something like that. In the servers that I'm watching, I think we have 2 or 3 more. Oh, no. That is not good. Again, that's an 8-minute trail repair. Good news is he does have a fresh car for the last little bit. But yeah, to be so close to the finish line and end up with a 8-minute trail repair, that definitely is not a great idea. Ouch. Yeah, it looks like some of these guys are going to have a few trail repairs there. Again, there's some rough section they're going through. Getting it close to the finish line. Almost done wrapping up for this evening.
Check.
All right. Looks like we got 1, 2, 3, maybe 2 to 3 more competitors out there still wrapping up that desert loop. Hopefully they should be coming in pretty soon.
Check.
Yep, we can hear you, Jeremy.
Hey, I'm back. Look at that. That's awesome. All right. Hey, we're watching Dylan finishing up his run here. You can see
He had a few
you
rollovers.
see all those names on top of his car. Those are people who've tapped over and are riding on board with him. We always joke around about how that makes your car so much heavier, and you always make a bunch of mistakes when people do that. But
yeah,
sorry about that. Lost Mike for a minute.
Yeah, again, like I said, we were trying to wrap up things. We got a few desert guys here trying to still fill it in.
And there's Dylan. I don't think anybody's ever been so happy to cross the finish line.
As he
on all fours there.
across, yeah.
Yeah, right on. Cool. So I believe, let's take a look. We don't want anybody left behind here. So I'm going to say everyone's off course. And so that ridiculously long experience they just had was basically just this map here. Like I said, this was made by Caleb Good and Tom at RCC. It's a pretty small map relatively to what's available out there, but Slinky Sam, who just finished on server 2, he designed this course that uses a lot of it and doesn't repeat anything, and puts down a pretty long run. So let's go and check and see what kind of times we're getting. So Lorne Starr, he was our fast qualifier with 350. He put down a 50-minute race, 2 seconds.
Wow.
And he had, I'm sure I'm seeing, I think Caleb might have lost my mic again. So it looks like he had 1 trail repair. See if I can interact with this spreadsheet here real quick and see. Yeah, so Lorne had 1 trail repair, 0 pits. And Young Cad, he came in with a 42.59 screaming fast time, 0 trail, 0 pit. And then, like we talk, this racing is so close, it's crazy. Dustin Girding, 42.42, edged out Cad by just a few seconds there. That's both of those. Anything under 45 minutes is just screaming on this track. And then looks like Waffles, he came in with a 50-minute 25, so he was just behind Lauren there. So it looks like our top 3 is Dustin Girding, first place, Young Cad in second, Lone Star third, Waffles in fourth. This is all unofficial yet. Sometimes some things have to be calculated, but yeah, close racing. Seconds matter.
Yeah, that's crazy. After 45 minutes, it comes down to a few seconds, you know. I mean, that's just impressive.
Yeah, pretty wild. So, Matt, I'm not sure, but I think they might have lost my mic again. So if you wouldn't mind kind of taking us home and
Sure. All right. Well, we appreciate everybody coming to race with us. Arizona's course tonight. Again, great racing by all the competitors. We appreciate the guys that were in our server. Again, this was the 7th race of a 10-race Cup Series. You do get 4 drops. So the guys who weren't with us tonight, I know there's a couple of guys that weren't with us tonight, so those guys will get a few drops. Again, to everybody who absolutely came out and crushed it, it was a fun course to watch. And again, I love the rock section. You know, being a rock guy, I love the rock section and watch you guys thrash through there and go through. And, you know, it stunk that there was a couple of trailer pairs for the guys who had to break down, but I love watching it come out and just absolutely gnarly it. And again, me and Jeremy both appreciate everybody tuning in on the live stream and, you know, on the people watching on the internet. So that was a lot of fun. And thanks everybody for watching, and we appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll see you guys soon.